Hey, welcome to episode 1 of Hawk Talks. We are joined today by Normology, Copley. I'm Eric Alexander. I am the Esports coordinator at Dunwoody College of Technology, uh, part of the new Hawks program over here. So let's start out with some intros.
All
Norman,
right, sounds good.
tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you, and what facets of esports are and have you been involved with?
Hi, I'm Norman. I'm 24 years old. I'm mainly of course I'm running the Mirage Alliance as like the CEO, so I'm doing everything between marketing, just running anything day to day, and then for the University of Minnesota, I am their head coach.
Cool, cool. You guys have had quite a bit of success with the university team over there, so we'll get into that a little bit later. Uh,
Okay.
I've seen you play League. You're pretty good at it. When did you start playing?
I started playing League of Legends in season 5, but mainly I was playing 3v3s. But my first season, I finished silver 1 as a Vayne 1 trick, so
That's decent for a
you
first
know,
season.
wasn't that bad.
So what is your current rank?
Master.
Ooh, yeah. So we need to get more of you over here at Dunwoody.
Yeah, I do okay. I just keep, I got to keep my hands, mobile and stuff for when I do one-on-ones with my players because, like, I want to be able to show them certain matchups and I have to play at their level to understand, like, so they can understand the matchups.
Yep,
And I'm not just griefing lanes and stuff. So,
totally. Yeah, that's cool that you guys have a coach that is master. Uh, I think we'd be happy with a diamond at this point.
fair enough.
Uh,
Like I said, it's your first,
oh
first
yeah,
quarter of
totally.
being an esports team. You guys will build it out for
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah, we will. So how long did it take you to get from silver to master?
Actually, 1 season.
One season?
Yeah. So what I did was I basically read the game like a book. And I learned like every possible thing I could in order to, because I was like, my mechanics just got shot up instantly when I started reading the game and understanding everything through macro. So basically, I went from 1 season,
Wow,
but then I was still playing 3v3s, and I finished in season 6, rank 1. So
wow, that's very very impressive. And for anybody watching, I'm not just making that up. That is extremely impressive.
yeah, I have the
Uh,
book bag, but I don't know where I put it because they used to give out rewards for challenger players. So for 3v3s, they would give you 5 book bags because it was the top 5 players,
yep.
and I got that one. So it took like 2 months
Wow.
though.
I'm not even going to tell you what I've ranked up from. But
No,
yeah,
it's fine. Listen, 3v3s is not the same as ranked solo queue. All right, they're
no,
not
no,
the
no.
same game.
They took away Twisted Tree Line
Yeah.
though. That's I hope they bring that back. That was
Yeah, I used to
fun.
play the Lucian with Smite, so and I had a Tom Kent support, and I would take all the camps and all the farm. So
Oh,
it's not even
funny.
the same game. It was a
You had
funnel
two
game.
roles.
Yeah.
Love it. And for those that aren't familiar with League of Legends, it is a MOBA. It is extremely stats oriented. So when Norman is saying he reads it like a book, that is the key. Uh,
Yeah.
it is literally just numbers, and if you're able to process all of those numbers, which it's hard to come by one, and once you
I
get
agree.
into the game, yeah.
That's why I believe like any good
So
coach should be able to obtain high elo because they even if they're not mechanically they're not younger anymore, they're not mechanics, they should still be able to carry through macro like playing something like support and they can rank their all the way up like because they understand the game so well that they should be able to. So that's just my personal opinion on like what brings out a good coach is to be able to play
totally.
those certain things
In
because
fact, that's that's a perfect segue into our next question, which you had it covered, is what makes a good coach?
honestly, being able to, like, you need to be a good leader. You need to tell your players what to do eventually. But you need to be open. I believe. Like, I'm really open with my players. I let them know I know a lot about the game. I read it. I read all the patch notes. But there's some things, some things I don't even know. So like, I allow them to have an open discussion with me. Like if you don't believe that this is correct, we can go over it. We can talk about it. We can go over the numbers. We can break everything down and see if if that's still accurate or if they're correct. Because of course, like I said, I don't have an ego coming into it. You know what I mean? Like I like to lead the team, but I of course I got to I respect their knowledge and they're playing the game.
Yeah, that sounds good. So how would you say that differentiates from a captain?
I'd say a captain just needs to know how to lead their team in game. So like if anybody gets mad or tilted or angry about how it's going or anything, they just need to be able to break them down in game because I'm not allowed to speak during the game at all.
Hmm,
So like they just need to be able to calm their players down. Get everyone to reset, focus on the objectives throughout the game, focus on what we're playing for. If we're playing for soul, if we're playing for bot side, top side, just things like that. We need to they need to be able to communicate within the game.
that's interesting. I didn't realize the coach couldn't communicate in game.
I'm not allowed to speak during in game because it'd be kind of like it's kind of almost like cheating, right? Because I'd be like literally in a helicopter above the map, seeing everything from an analytical perspective, so I would know exactly what to do for them every time because I'm not actually playing.
True. That makes sense. So here's a good question. I'm very curious about this one, because especially with worlds going on right now, you have so many people that are at the same caliber, but there's some obvious difference in a. So
Right, well, 117 the dream. Okay, well, we
yeah.
we took a big dub yesterday.
So in your mind, what is the difference between a good team and an excellent team if they're both at the same caliber?
I believe this one breaks down. This is even at the pro level. It's adaptability into comps, right? Because you'll see these teams, especially in pro play, they'll draft the same comps every single game, and it's not always great. It's not, I draft reactively, so I'll draft something just because they drafted this, etc. Like I'll switch it up. So my players need to have like a huge champ pool to understand how to utilize each champion in each position, and basically how to utilize in the game. So I believe like that's a huge thing, and like teamwork, and like they need most teams like they need to all bond together. So that's why I'll bring them to like yesterday, for example, we did a varsity pizza party. I just like to bring everybody together. If they're good friends in real life, they'll be good friends, in game. They'll be more understanding of each other. They won't, it's not more of like bickering between each other. It's more about getting to a certain point to be able to go forward.
Totally. That makes sense. It helps with communication.
Right.
Uh, Because yeah, everybody kind of knows that league can be a little toxic if you don't know the person
That's
you're
actually
playing
that
with.
is one of my main rules. We are not allowed to tilt.
Good.
One tilt will make us lose the whole tournament.
Yep. Yep.
So it's just a main thing that has to happen.
Yeah, you see that in uh, ranked. I see it all the time.
Oh,
One
and solo
player's
queue, this is what I say to my players. Listen, we just mute all. And we just play the game. We cannot control what happens in the game. We can only control what we do. There's no point in saying to someone else to do something. They're not going to do it. Let's be honest. Just play how you're going to play. There's only one person you can control in the game, and that's you.
love it.
What can you have done better, not what your team could have done better.
Love it. That's a great mindset to have. So the next question, what has been the biggest obstacle you've had to overcome as a team since you joined on?
I think our biggest one is actually our support player Silvio is actually an AD carry main. He was a GM from Brazil, and he just came into NA this year. So I think the biggest thing was getting him to start learning champions in the support role. And not only that, but learning how to play support in general. So I've been having to work with him a lot directly. And of course, then I asked our AD carry to start duoing with them on Smurfs, so they're getting a lot more chemistry going. And I just want to make sure he feels welcomed into the team
That's
because
cool.
he's coming from Brazil. He hasn't been to the states like that, so I just made sure to make sure he felt welcomed in the team.
So did you recruit him from Brazil?
No, actually, he came to the freshman week. So
Okay.
we host we have a booth or something, and I spoke with him, and he said like I convinced him to try out because he was wondering about coaching, like being an assistant. So I convinced him to try out, and because he was the best fit, I believe, for support.
Very cool. And I guess before we get into questions about Mirage, I have another question that we kind of talked about before. Uh, how did you come to be at the U? I know you were at another college before. Uh,
Right. So I
yeah,
came from Kent State as an assistant coach, and then of course like I said, I met my girlfriend online in League of Legends actually. So after about a year, we decided to move in, and then she works at the university as it's a research developer for horticulture. So I was already friends with Weiss, who is the league president actually.
yep,
So then I just asked him, I was like, do you guys have anything with coaching? Because he knew who I was. I've coached a lot of players in my day. Like I have like hundreds and hundreds of vouchers for one-on-ones with like challenger players. So I'm kind of known within the community of high elo
oh yeah,
players. So then I talked with him, and then we basically came to consensus, and then I basically got the job.
very cool, very cool. I do like that story because I don't hear that very often.
Yeah.
So now the next topic. So within esports, there's a ton of entrepreneurship, just because everybody combines their passion, and they try to figure out how to make a career out of it. With you, you've started Mirage Alliance.
Right.
Um, so how did that start out? How did that come to be?
So basically, it was just a group of my friends were a group. So I had Mirage like a while ago. Like I played. We started like I guess necessarily in 2018. We played in what's it called? DreamHack. We played for like the $1 million thing for Smite. We got beat by this team called Obey Alliance. So I don't know. It was rough. But anyway, so we restarted like a year or two later. We were just gonna be like this. It was just a group of friends like that were playing Overwatch. But of course, I've always played League. I never really played Overwatch, but I let them have it. So we were just started out as an Overwatch team. And then I mean, they had really good success. They came like first and then second the next year for UP, not UBL. It's called UGC, I think. So then I decided to extend on that and then make a league thing since I was already a league coach. So I decided to pick up a team and we did amateur. We just do amateur like improving grounds, open qualifiers, and like within the UPL and Unified. So I've always been passionate about marketing. Like I've always practiced. Like that's what I'm going to school for.
Yep.
So I kind of at first it was like a I don't want to say it was almost a like a test run for me, but I wanted to see if I could build out one. And then so now I got to this point. And I'm like, well, I should run with it.
That's cool. Well, it's marketing and esports. They kind of go hand in hand, and I
Yeah,
especially love when you're a gamer in charge of marketing for
yeah.
esports. Kudos.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, I see. What about? I guess what's your vision for that? You kind of touched on that. It's
I'm basically just gonna grow it out. We're gonna see, obviously, hopefully, get some more championships on our belt. I have this. I don't want to call it a curse, but it's just a curse. I've gotten second 4 times in a row for League of Legends. So I'm basically the runner up every single time, and it's just getting out of hand. So I hopefully want to get some more trophies within the next couple of years here, and hopefully just extend on our organization. Of course, my goal personally, though, I've already had like trials for bigger teams, so I'm looking to try, go to the next level, especially within coaching.
I like that. So I guess how do you plan to get there other than obviously applying the marketing skills you're learning at the U and that uh, you've learned along the way. Do you have any sort of what's your plan to get there?
Well, I think so. I'm just doing stepping stones right here. Like for the university, I think you get a lot more recognition when you start placing higher. So I'm gonna like for coaching to get up there. I'm gonna definitely coach. Obviously, and try to get them high as I possibly can within the collegiate ladder, and then go from there. Extend on my resume because obviously there's two different kind of resumes. You gotta have like a coaching resume and then, like I said, I've already trialed with a big team, but it didn't go that my way. Me and the because like when you have an assistant coach, because that's what I was trying out for. You got to have like good chemistry between us, and there was just no chemistry between me and the head coach, and like we could see it, so we just decided to part away.
Yeah, that would be difficult. And you're talking at the U or at Kent?
For which one?
The what you were just talking about parting ways with the head coach.
Oh, that was no. That was with a bigger. That's like that was with a.
Oh,
I guess I can name drop it. It was C9. I was trialing
okay.
for academy.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. I didn't realize that. Boy, that would open up a lot more questions.
Oh yeah,
So
I
when
mean, it was like I said, me and the head coach just didn't. We weren't clicking, so I
that's
understood.
still that's still pretty cool though that you did some stuff with
Yeah,
them, at least for the experience. Have you been watching them at Worlds at all?
yeah. Hey,
Did you
first
see that
winner in NA.
yesterday?
Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, that was good. And then EDG yesterday was just
I don't want to call myself an LS fanboy, but I'm kind of not on Cloud9 side ever since they let go of LS. So I just think like I bring his kind of drafting style into mine. So
totally.
I was just not a fan of it. But
Let's see. Are you? Should we open it up to some questions here?
yeah, go for it. That's fun.
So anybody that's watching the stream, feel free to type your questions in chat. I will moderate here. Um, so how
I do
many
like potatoes.
students are on? Do you like potatoes?
Yeah, I like mashed potatoes.
Okay, let's start with that one. What's your opinion on potatoes?
So my girlfriend makes some mean mashed potatoes with green onion.
Ooh,
So that's got to be my favorite potato. I think. You know.
I'm with you actually. I like scallions, chopped up scallions in
Oh
there.
yeah.
I mean, uh, so how many students are on your team at the U? And I think what we could break it down to, because I know there's various tiers. How many people are in your program, and then how many people are on the League of Legends team?
Sure. So we have about 900 right now in the Discord or in the program. So, but we run three teams. So it's varsity, C team, and JV. Varsity has hold on, it's 5, 6. We have 7,
Okay,
and then of course it'd be
so
8 including me. But we have 7, and then for JV and C team they have about 10 each. So about
so
27.
five subs, and
Yeah, they
for
have
JV,
5 subs.
and cool.
Varsity sadly does not have that many subs. We only have 2. So.
It's probably harder to find subs of that caliber.
Well, for
So,
CeeLo, we're not in CeeLo right now. We're in the PRL, which is a different league. I'm a sub, so
oh,
I can't do that in
well, that's
CeeLo
kind of
though,
cool.
because I'm not allowed to be a coach and a player. But for this league, I'm allowed to be a player. So
For you, what is that league called again?
it's Phoenix Rising League.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to. I wasn't aware of that one. I'll look into that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think Starlight's a good one for college, and it's called like Nace Starlight. I don't know if you've heard of
Yep,
it.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really solid one for you guys too.
Yeah, and then I know NECC as well, just because they kind of break it up into tiers. So we wouldn't be playing your team to start off, or any other GMs, masters, and whatnot.
In CeeLo, we actually have to go against plat teams.
Do
Like our
you?
first 3 weeks, yeah, our first 3 weeks are like really, really easy.
Is it, yeah, that's funny. You probably enjoy it. It's a good confidence booster going into
What I
the.
like to do is like if we stop when we stop game one and stuff, I leave it up to like the community that actually goes into the next question. I let the community vote on who we play next, like what champion.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so
cool.
you'll notice, and it's if you look up Phoenix Rising League, you'll see that the last game we played, which was I think it was streamed like 2 days ago. I'm sorry, it was about a week ago. We played Twitch AP support. So
Okay.
but I want my players like I said, they're at the high functioning level, so they should be able to play these things out no matter what.
So what if somebody voted like Yumi mid or something?
Oh, that actually works. No, no. So you mean mid with smite, and you actually follow around your jungler and you let them funnel you. So you play
Oh,
something
that's
like
funny.
Graves, Kindred, and they'll funnel the mid wave as well. Because
Wow.
Yumi is technically level 2 at level 1.
Oh, that's funny. That's
So
not what I would
I
have
can make
expected.
anything work.
I love it. Yeah, you are definitely a coach. Uh, so yeah, I guess next question: what does engagement look like for the other 873 students on League of Legends?
So we host this thing called intramurals, which will allow any student to play. Like they can be any rank, and they make their own teams. And then we stream those every Sunday, actually. And then they just play. They just play it out like a normal tournament, and then they or a league, and then they just play. They have like finals and stuff. They hand out trophies and stuff. So it's really cool. We do a lot of engagements. Like a month ago, we did trivia night. So it's just league trivia. Everyone can come. They get free pizza. They just we build a lot on our community. We're actually kind of more community focused than competitive focused.
Very cool. Yeah, that's kind of what we're uh, discovering right now over at Dunwoody is the community is forming, and
Yeah,
I
you
mean it's just
definitely
passion.
Yeah,
So
you definitely don't want a separation between varsity and like a community because what a lot of
totally.
varsity teams do is they seem to close themselves off and like they keep in their own friend group. Like personally, I'm gonna make this thing. What we're gonna do? It's gonna be like Minnesota Rivals or something. It's where each one of my players and varsities will be coaches of each team, and then they'll have to draft the community, and then they
That's
play
pretty
against each
cool.
other.
That's pretty innovative. That's new.
Yeah, so feel free to steal that one. It's pretty good.
That is good. Yeah, I might have to. I'd love to be able to scrim against you guys at some point. Not this year, but once we are able to, that would be fun. Probably be a little difficult this year.
Yeah, hey, that's for sure. But
We'll get there.
in the future,
So, next question. Do you feel
so
collegiate rivalry, Gophers versus Hawks, or is it a big esports community culture? That's a good question.
Well, I would not be on this podcast actually if I was against you guys. So I bring listen, every team that joins, every college that joins the community is always great for us. It's always great for me. It gives us more everyone, more positions to get into and stuff like that. So I would consider us a rivalry. I don't consider really any team a rivalry. I mean, there's a couple, but that's just personal beef that I have with some players on their team.
I love it. You don't have to name drop, but I have a
Yeah,
few ideas.
yeah, I won't name drop here, but just know that there is some teams.
Here's a good question. We were just talking about this before, and I think uh, this and the inverse of this question I've seen. Have any players from the U of M moved on to top tier pro leagues such as LCS or Academy?
There's hasn't been any directly. They've been doing a lot of amateur scenes, but there is one player that from Bethany actually who everyone should know who he is. It's
Yep.
wow, hold on, I'm drawing a blank here. He's a top laner.
I know who you're talking about. We were just talking about him yesterday.
Ah man, what? Did I forget him?
He's a
Bradley,
challenger
it's
though.
top laner. It's yeah, TL Bradley. He plays for Team Liquid Academy. So there's always, of course, there's chances to improve. You just have to, be willing to do it. And personally, I think there's a couple players on my team that actually have really high potential.
What about this is my own question. What about drafting from pro teams? I know we talked a bit about it. Has the U drafted any retired pros?
Yeah, so sadly, we don't have the kind of budget. Like I said, it depends. Like these players that are retiring, they want full rides
Yeah, that makes sense.
because they just
Uh,
want to get their degree and they want to, dominate CLOL and then just quit.
Yeah, if you're a pro player, I suppose Maryville, Bethany, all of those, they're kind of
Yeah,
doing the full ride.
Dardock is one of those
Yeah,
players that are going to get picked up. I mean,
yeah,
eventually, as long as the colleges start growing out and figuring it out that if they start investing in esports, this will be really, really good for pro players. But like as it stands now, it's actually bad. Like I had a
mhm,
discussion with like I said with the Maryville director. He, it's great for the community, like that the pro players are going to have something to come back to, and of course, pursue their career. But as it stands now, the colleges that are offering the full rides are going to just be dominating CLOL for like the next 2 years
yeah,
because they're gonna be picking up players like I said, like Dardock and all these ex pros that are just gonna, my jungler is a GM jungler. Like he's great and he's really good, and I think he has high potential. But like, come on, like you know what I mean? He's not been playing 16 hours per day for the
yeah. They're
last
college students.
2 years. He's worried about his grades right now, not us.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. Do we have any other questions? Give it a couple more minutes here. It looks like we still have a fair amount of people watching.
Sounds good.
Do you think that the pipeline for players in the college scene is better for the ecosystem to go pro to college or amateur to college to pro?
Hmm. I think it's so. This is a little weird. So for college, like CLOL, it gets a bad rep right now for some reason in the pro scene. I don't know why. So personally, I would think college to amateur to pro because college to pro doesn't really ever work.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but like the pro teams don't really like college teams as much. Like, and college teams get a bad rep, especially like media wise, because most of the time we're playing in these games. Like for example, Faker, like he was playing in. We get invited to like the top players get invited to play in Champions Queue. You know, they're getting like completely dumpstered, but it's like they're going against Korean pro players, so Chinese pro players. You know what I mean? So it gets a really bad rep, but I think eventually it should be college to pro, and I would love to see that eventually, especially with the talent building back up. I think it'll start looking more like that.
great. Before I forget, I'm going to post your tags here in the chat, Norman, for people to follow. If you guys see that, there's Norman's Twitter.
Appreciate it.
Yep, totally. And then I'll put Mirage Alliance here too.
And of course, if anyone has direct questions about league or anything, I'm really open as long as I'm not busy. I'll answer any league question, anything. So if they just want to add me on like Discord or something, like Norman, it's just Norman0001. So I mean, I'm always open to answering questions, especially with newer players and stuff. So I mean, as long as I'm not doing anything, I don't feel, you know, I don't
Cool.
mind.
Well, I appreciate it big time. That's one of the things I love about the esports community because it's so collaborative. Uh, it's it's been fun being in it because when one org grows, it's like the rising tide.
Right. Everybody.
So yeah, there's a lot of collaboration. I think that will prove down the road to be very beneficial for all orgs and the industry on a whole, so that we can form this in a healthy manner. So, if we don't have any more questions, Norman, is there anything else you would like to say? Any games you have coming up that people could tune into? Or
Yeah, we play. Oh, we play every Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard
okay.
Time. So, oh, and how many offers are involved in the U of M esports group? I think we missed your question. So there's
Oh yeah,
about 900 in the league one, but there's about 6K in the esports group Discord. So we
that's
do
big.
multiple games. Like we do Valorant, Rocket League, of course, League of Legends, Dota, Fortnite, Overwatch, Rainbow Six, and Rocket League and Valorant. So and
That's
Call
a
of Duty
big
actually.
Discord server to manage.
Oh yeah, that one's brutal. I don't know. I'm just a game over there, so
Yeah,
that one seems brutal. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, that's huge. Uh, I guess Coffee has one more question. Do you think that retired pro players coming to college esports is bad for the ecosystem? Will it be will their experience be worth taking up a spot for a potential up and coming player?
That's a good question from both
Good
sides.
question.
I think it's a good. I think it's good in the long run. I think because giving players the chances, like they've been, like I said, they've been grinding 16 hours a day. Like you got to think they have nothing outside of league. So I think it's really good for them as people, like to get back into the, make themselves, get a job, something they're passionate about because they didn't make it in League of Legends. So they didn't make it to the big times. So I think, and then of course, right now, like I said, if your college isn't providing these things like these full rides, these scholarships or anything, if you have a college that's not supportive, you're doomed for the next couple of years
Yep.
because they're just going to go to big schools and you're just going to get bullied basically in game. So it's back and forth for me on that one.
Yep. That's a good point. And yeah, I know of a few people. I remember when Hunter moved to Bethany. I think he's the coach there now. Uh, so
Mm,
I've seen that a few times. I guess one more question. We did already cover this, but we can go through it again. What is your rank? And you know what? And
So,
if he or she didn't hear it, what was your first rank, and what is your rank now, and how long did it take you to get there again?
sure. So I
Because
started.
that amazes.
So my first season, I finished silver one. I was a vein one trick. So then over the next season, I permanently read the game like I said, basically like I'm studying for a quiz or a test. And then I went master the next season, and I've been master GM ever since. And then of course I peaked rank one, at 3v3s, but that doesn't really count. I peaked GM. It was ranked 215, not 215. I'm sorry, 356 or 9 or something. So I've been up there, but now I feel like I'm getting too old in esports. I think there is an age thing, so now I'm just being I transitioned into a coach. And yes, like, yeah, it was silver one.
Yeah, silver to master in one season, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So all of the Dunwoody Hawks listening to this, we know what's possible now.
True, it is. It's definitely possible. I mean,
Yeah. So
you just
how
have the
did
right. You have to have the right mindset. Of course, your openness to learning. Like the first thing you want to do, like you gotta say pretend you're learning the game completely new. Because that's what I did when I was playing silver. When I was in silver one, I was vain. I'm not trying to say I was an ego or anything, but you'd be like, the jungler sucks. You know what I mean? Blame it on someone else. You just need to completely drop your ego, completely just pretend you never even knew the game and learn it in a whole different way. Look at it objectively instead of like it's a video game.
That's
And
amazing. So when you say you read it like a book, were you just going through like op.gg and stuff
I was
like
going through
that?
patch notes, builds, situation runes, everything. Like I said, I came from StarCraft before I played League of Legends, and I was a Diamond Protoss main. So basically, I learned the game like I was learning. I looked at it from like I was basically playing StarCraft.
Hmm, that's cool. That's truly amazing. I've never heard that before. Well, it looks like we're at about 30 minutes right now. We That's cool.
StarCraft is also one of my favorites. I agree. But I had it. I don't know what it was. I decided to go to the top esport. So now I'm at League of Legends.
That sounds. Yeah, I think you've made a good decision.
Hopefully, I agree.
I guess anything else, Norman, you'd like to share?
I guess that's basically it.
8 p.m.
Just
Fridays, right? They can
yep,
find you.
yep. It's gonna be on the Phoenix Rising Twitch. And
Cool.
like I said, if anybody has any other questions, don't feel. I mean, feel free to DM me. I'm not shy or anything. I'll answer anything, especially if anything with League. I love talking about League of Legends. So if you have any questions about any builds, anything, etc., I'm perfectly fine with opening. And I'll be willing. Like you can send me the link to your esports Discord, and I'll join it and stuff. That's perfectly fine.
Perfect. I'll send it to you shortly after. And boy, you've been great, Norman. I really, really appreciate
Thank you.
this. So, I guess that concludes episode one of Hawk Talks. And everybody, yeah, say thank you to Norman. We're lucky to have him here. And I will catch you all next time.
Peace, guys. Thank you.